as we connected when I got there on Tuesday, he said, "Hey, come, we're having a bourbon tasting at my place." Well, I didn't know what that meant, but it was downtown, and I'm staying downtown. Well, he's got a private bourbon club. Meaning you pay a yearly fee.
Oh, wow.
And when I tell you it is very stately and it screams private bourbon club, like it is gorgeous. It's in an old building that they've taken over. It's like if you had George Street Grocery, but it was three floors and all renovated and done up, but left with all the exposed brick and beams and hardwood floors. That's what this place is. And so I got to sit with Mark and two other people who work for him, and we got to sip on it's called Old Carter bourbon.
So you're saying this place has sex appeal?
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
But that's what I did that night. Then went over to Jeff Ruby's for dinner. That was a ton of fun. Then everybody got there on Wednesday. And that's when we bounced around, ended up at Repeal Oak Fired Steakhouse, which is right there on Main Street, right by the KFC Yum Center where U of L plays hoops. I could not find my way in there.
Surprised me a little bit.
Well, I was too. Usually if you just walk around, you can eventually get in.
Typically.
And it just didn't. And maybe I wasn't as gung-ho.
Okay, yeah.
So I kind of walked around for a couple of minutes.
I feel like if you wanted to get in, you would have got in.
Yeah, if I would have just hung out for a while, I could eventually got in.
Yeah, you'd have found the opening.
But I didn't. I peeled off where the KFC Yum Center is, where U of L plays basketball, Louisville Cardinals. Shout out Rick Pitino. Right off of there is Whiskey Alley.
Okay.
So eventually, once I was walking around the arena, I'd been walking, and I saw the sign. It's like this long walkway courtyard. And so it just drew my attention, and I went that way.
It happens like that sometimes.
Yeah. I do want to say that I had lunch one day at Proof on Main, which is a real cool place that people put us on right when we started going up there 15 years ago. Proof on Main is a super cool bar and restaurant. So while I was waiting on everybody, I went to eat lunch, and I'm by myself.
Okay.
There's a guy about 3 bar stools down from me. He's eating lunch. Bartender's very good, conversationalist. So we're talking about this and that, and the guy turns to me, and I don't know what got brought up, and we start talking, and this guy sitting beside a few bar stools down. There's nobody in the bar right now. He said, I rent my house to Phil Mickelson when he comes in and plays Valhalla.
Oh, casual.
I went, really? He goes, yeah. He said, Phil's asked me to come to the Masters. I said, you need to take him up on that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
You take him up on that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Hey, the Golden Moon Casino text line is 601-885-3776. 601-885-3776. It's International Beer Day, brought to you by Stella Artois. Love the text coming in. Ooh. There's even more than I thought. Okay. We got to jump into some of these questions on Mississippi State and Ole Miss and football, because it's virtually impossible for us to know, but it's super fun to debate with all 3 schools in the state, including Southern Miss, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State, basically bringing in right at 60 new players. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. Good morning. Welcome in. Glad to be back. Good morning. We are the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Grab lunch today at Burgers Blues Barbecue, B3 in Madison, Dogwood, Flowood, and Brandon. Burgers Blues Barbecue. They got the smash burgers. They got blue plates and pork nachos and onion rings. All at B3, baby. Local and awesome. Burgers Blues Barbecue. Grab some lunch today from there. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Oh, my gosh. Some of you, I can't believe how many of you have to go to two different carpool lines.
Is it that many?
I never thought about this. One, because I've been doing morning drives since 2005, which, only at that time, only had one kid.
You still weren't doing it.
And no. And then, so I was here every morning. So I've never been in a carpool line. This is blowing people's mind.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
I've never. Well, why would I be in a carpool line?
I get that. I
if I did morning drive, if I did a different time slot,
sure,
I could be in the carpool line.
I feel like it's a rite of passage. Like I feel like you have to pay your dues in the carpool line.
You talking about paying your dues? All right,
I'm gonna do.
Let's talk. Jackson just talked about me paying my dues. So I've been gone for basically 3 days. In that time, we've got two big boxes outside the door, our studio door, that are empty that you basically almost run into.
Yeah.
Over the 3 days, Jackson never. I walk up this morning. I get here and I'm late because I could not find. When you pack and this is an excuse, and it's not a good one. But I get home at 9:15 last night. Talk to Wendy. Go take a shower, go to sleep. Couldn't really sleep, and so on. And so I walk up here and I'm already late.
Right.
And so it's 6:40.
Okay.
And I walk up the stairs and I see the two boxes that you basically almost run into coming in and out of the door. So Jackson invited a buddy up to play golf on the golf simulator, and they drank beer, and he never took the boxes out to the the trash bin.
Never noticed them.
How does that I'd like to hear from our listeners. How does that happen? You're in and out for 3 days. You host a buddy to drinks. We've got Mango Card on tap, Kona Big Wave on tap.
Yeah, we tapped one of them.
Stella Artois on tap, and Michelob Ultra on tap. And both boxes, which almost hit you in the face, are outside the door.
I still have no idea what boxes you're talking about.
They're literally they're up on the table. They're not even on the floor.
Yeah, I'll look at them during
It
the break.
is amazing how little you take in on a daily basis.
I got things to do. My mind, it's tunnel vision.
Right. Your tunnel vision was, all right, a buddy's in town. We'll hit on the golf simulator and drink beer.
I had to get a few things done too.
Yeah.
We had a meeting.
Oh, okay. Andy says it's those damn millennials, Bo. And I don't want to look at it like that.
No.
It is funny. If you walk out our door, you almost hit one of the boxes in either your head, shoulder, or chest, because I've got an elevated desk, a stand-up desk that I had made for me years ago outside the studio where somebody can sit, or we can, when somebody wins something, we put them out there on we put these Elijah Craig bourbon glasses will be put outside the door in a bag for whoever wins them.
Right.
Plus, I'm going to throw in some of these other goodies that they sent in these boxes.
Oh, yeah, you'll be swagged out.
Yeah. They're leather wrapped Elijah Craig bourbon glasses. Leather wrapped Elijah Craig bourbon glasses. You never saw these damn boxes outside? How is that even possible?
I'm not looking at that. I'm telling you, I'm looking to get in the door. Once I'm in the door, things can happen. We can make it shake.
Okay.
I don't know what any of that means. I don't know what I'm shaking, but something's happening in there.
Okay.
We got work done yesterday.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
I don't believe it.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
We'll unveil it soon, I suppose.
All right. Well, did you get the leather goods in there that we have back there?
I sent you pictures.
Oh, yeah, you did send me one picture.
Yeah.
But I was wanting to see everything.
Well, yeah, no, I wasn't there yet. I was tired.
Yeah. So you did one, and then you hit the golf ball, and then y'all drank beer.
That sounds about right.
Okay. All right. Brad says, morning. Glad y'all are back on live. Miss y'all listening via the Out of Bounds radio app. And he said, I'm on the radio some this morning, too. I think my Rebs will be 8-4 this year. That wouldn't surprise me. 8-4, 9-3. Now, if Kiffin and Golding take this team to the playoffs and go 10, and the only reason why they would be in the hunt for the playoffs is because of their schedule. But this is it. I mean, now's the time to take advantage. So was last year. It's a different schedule. Even though you don't play good SEC teams, you do play 2 SEC games in the first 3 games with the new QB. And I know he's talented, but I know you've got a bunch of new players. Last year, you were old, which is awesome.
Yes.
What'd you lose, 38 players? You had a bunch of dudes who had been shaving for a long time, guys that had played a lot, that had been on road trips, that had been around campus, that had been in the system. And, if you can just be in the system for more than 1 year this day and age, that's huge. That's big. This year, while the schedule is still beautiful and delicious and amazing, a little bit different because you'll beat Georgia State by 70. People will get all hot and bothered. And then you go to Kentucky, which I was just in Louisville, but you'll go to Lexington. I doubt anybody will be there, so you can get tickets on the 50. But you go at Kentucky and Arkansas at home. And while we think, well, Ole Miss should beat both those teams easily, you don't ever know.
Yeah.
With what Diego Pavia did last year at Vandy, with Kentucky beating Ole Miss at Ole Miss, and with some of the other things that happened. I mean, Bama was embarrassed. Vanderbilt ran all over the Alabama Crimson Tide's 4- and 5-star players. Ran all over them. Yeah, and then they ran the clock out. Yeah, I never thought that Vandy would run the clock out on Bama. No. Steamrolled them. Left side. Boom, 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 boom. To end the game. I was down on my guys' trip. It was the day that Ole Miss beat South Carolina. And while a good win, they got lucky. Lenore Sellers, not healthy. But they won. So there was a lot of celebrating in one room, and then people started gravitating to the other room where we had Diego Pavia just absolutely steamrolling the Alabama Crimson Tide. Incredible. Did you ever think that Vandy would line up on the 4-yard line? I didn't. Would line up on the 4-yard line and blow Bama back into the end zone and score? Pretty sure that was the first touchdown, but I think that's how they started the game. It may have been the second score. Did you ever think that you would see Vandy where it gets primitive, where you define who you are in football, where the gladiator physicality primitive piece of it is line of scrimmage wins? Vandy on the 4 or 5 yard line blew Bama back into the end zone, and the guy just walked in. It's a weird time in college football, but I like it. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. We'll tell you how to enter to win 2 leather-wrapped Elijah Craig bourbon glasses. We'll tell you more about my trip to Louisville, Kentucky, and bourbon and horse country. Oh, man. You're going to love this. You are going to love this. We have got some audio from the Hall of Famer, Pete Carroll, talking different philosophies of leadership. He's always been very philosophical. He's kind of got, the Zen stuff, but plenty of alpha. He's crazy talented. One, as y'all know, at Southern Cal in college. And, was a defensive coordinator, successful for a while. Then a head coach got fired with the Patriots. And that really hit him. And he stepped back, and I read some of his book, and I'm going to walk you through this real quick. He stepped back and reflected and reviewed everything in his life after he got fired. He was like, I was humiliated, got fired from the Patriots, because he's got an enormous amount of confidence, right? Self-confidence and belief in himself. And then he was about the 8th guy on the Southern Cal list, and they couldn't get it together, and they just kind of stumbled. Pete was there, and it ended up being, as y'all know, an unbelievable hire, because for the last 40 years, other than Pete Carroll's window of those 6 years, Southern Cal has been average. They did nothing in the 80s. They did nothing in the 90s. Isn't that hard to believe? Southern Cal, Los Angeles, what they had done in the 60s and 70s, what McKay had done, among others, before what McKay went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That didn't work out. Probably should have stayed at Southern Cal. But they were one of the powers back then, Bear, Royal, Woody Hayes, McKay, Southern Cal. And so he was Pete Carroll was 8th on their list. And they stumbled around and fumbled around and got to him and hire him. And the rest is history. He was one of the, I don't know, half a dozen people in the 2000s who changed college football. Pete Carroll, Saban, Urban, Dabo, and some others. And so Mike Leach, among others. And this audio is unbelievable on Carroll talking about leadership philosophy, and who they tied in as far as the coaches was good too. Remember, Carroll's won 2 at Southern Cal, 1 was vacated, nonsense, and played for 2 at Seattle and won 1. And now he's with I know we're all busy. For those of you who may not have been paying attention, Pete Carroll's now the head football coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders. New stadium, new vibe, Vegas, all that. He knows how to win and motivate people and get the best out of his coaches and his players. By the way, his coaching tree is awesome too, including Lane. At Ole Miss. Yeah, Lane learned under his dad too, but Lane's real learning experience was Pete Carroll and Nick Saban. And so Lane Kiffin is part of Pete Carroll's coaching tree. And there's one of the most successful coaches that has been under Pete Carroll. Pete's had guys under him in the NFL going to become head coaches, as y'all know, like Dan Quinn, among others. And Dan's got it rolling with the Washington Commanders, and we'll see what Jaden Daniels and them do this year after a fabulous year last year. Dan almost won the Super Bowl, as y'all know, up 29-3 with the Atlanta Falcons. Then he had to go back and do the defensive coordinator route, one at the Cowboys, maybe somewhere else. Parlayed that into the head coach of the Washington Commanders. He's another part of the Pete Carroll tree. But Sark is part of the Pete Carroll tree, and Sark's having success. Now, Crazy Pills Bar 2 says, unbelievable play caller, always underachieves as a head coach. We'll see, though. Probably a little too harsh on Bar 2's side, but they have gone to the college football playoff the last 2 years. Now, they lost to Washington. They shouldn't have. Washington doesn't have near the talent that Texas has. And then last year, you have to think another golden opportunity, considering we couldn't really nobody was really good last year. And Ohio State kind of came out of nowhere. Georgia wasn't as good. Bama didn't even make it. LSU didn't make it. You know the drill. All right. So I'm just wrapping that up on how good Pete Carroll is. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. We're about to drop that audio, but first, hey, Fuse.cloud. Look, you don't want to start your business, all right, spending time fixing computers and resetting passwords. Fuse.cloud steps in as a full-service IT team. Okay, but you don't have to pay somebody $100,000 in benefits and all that. Fuse.cloud will have somebody right there, real support from real people right in Mississippi 24/7. Fuse.cloud, F-U-S-E, Fuse.cloud. They've got a really, really, really cool office in Belhaven. Fuse.cloud handles everything from cybersecurity and maintenance to email, backups, internet support, and more. They even help plan your technology needs so you're never caught off guard. Fuse, F-U-S-E, Fuse.cloud is trusted by businesses across Mississippi and the SEC footprint, and they can support yours too. Visit Fuse.cloud to get started, F-U-S-E. So anytime Pete Carroll starts talking leadership and gets philosophical, I want to listen, and I want to hear it. And he was in a Q&A in what looked like a classroom setting with a bunch of young coaches. I'm thinking at a coach's clinic in the offseason this past year, which kudos to Pete for going and sharing which is what we hope they do, share some of his wisdom and knowledge. And he's also very, very candid about his not just successes, but failure. But this is Pete Carroll on leadership philosophy.
Yes.
I was wondering if you could compare and contrast sort of your philosophy and style of coaching with the other most successful coaches like Belichick we've talked about.
Good. Yeah, that's really good.
Other sports like Popovich, Phil Jackson, etc.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a whole array of guys, and they're all different. Okay. Let's go to Belichick. Okay. Okay. Let's just start off with this one. That back in the day. You can picture what it's like when an army brings in a bunch of grunts for the first day and they show up on the scene, and all the civilian guys, and they get off the bus and they what do they do to them? What happens to those guys? The first thing, people start yelling at them, right? They start yelling at them, and they start berating them immediately, and they get their clothes off. They put them in all the same clothes. Do they cut their hair? Yes. Shave the hair, make them all look exactly the same, and just rip their ass until they just break them down, and the guys just said, okay, I give up. Whatever you want me to do. That's the extreme illustration of authoritarian, coercive way of teaching and leading a group. It's the most famous, the most successful way in history. It's the one that people understand the best. You beat people down, make them scared, just do what I tell you, don't do anything else, don't take any chances, just do what I tell you to do, and then that leader can count on what you can do. Okay, that to me, that's the extreme authoritarian way of teaching. That ain't the way we teach. Okay, it's also not the way that special forces units are taught. They're taught, now they beat the hell out of those guys. We relate a lot to the process that those guys go through. They beat the hell out of those guys so they'll learn to persevere, and they can hang through anything. There's nothing that they can't withstand. But they also teach them to think. They teach them to respond to the training that they encounter during the time they're there, so that when it comes time to function, they can't just do only what the guy tells them to do, but they can think for themselves, they can react on their feet, they can respond, and if they're really gifted, they can make great choices and great decisions to do things that one guy could never accomplish otherwise. In Special Forces, they do just 7 or 8, 9 guys. And they'll take on hundreds of guys, and they can whip their ass because they know how to function together and work together, and they outthink, they outsmart, they outreact. That's the end of the spectrum that we're trying to teach on and coach on. We're at the other end of it. We're trying to celebrate the individual with extraordinary commitment to practice. Practice is everything to us. We work our guys' ass off. They work hard, they work fast, they compete, they battle every day, but they're having a good time doing it because they know that we're supporting and celebrating who they are and empowering them to find their very best. That's the other end of the spectrum. Does that make sense? Yeah. Popovich is in the middle somewhere, okay? And who's the other one you asked? Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson's kind of more, we're kind of over here, me and Phil, kind of over here a little bit more, And then Bobby Knight's way the hell down here. He's on the other end, Those are the illustrations. And it's interesting that the authoritarian way doesn't trust people. They don't trust you because they're afraid that your own personal things are going to get in the way and you're going to respond out of the norm and they can't count on you. It's a great way because that's how you control big groups. We just don't think that way anymore. So,
all right, that was Pete Carroll. Won multiple championships, and I love what he laid out there. So he empowers his players and his coaches. But, I mean, we know about the Pete Carroll practices, both even in the NFL, but at Southern Cal, that were just ruthless. Brad Edwards told me back in 2002, 2003, when Southern Cal was rolling, he went out there for a practice. He was with, ESPN and Game Day and the BCS guy. And he said, I had been a lot of places. He said, I had never watched anything like I watched with a Pete Carroll practice on a Tuesday of game week. Now, understand, Pete and Eddie O and them had loaded the boat, and they had a ton of depth. You don't have that. And Saban could do that too up until 2023 or 4. Today, when running at optimal levels, Alabama, Southern Cal, and Georgia and LSU do not have that kind of depth. But Brad Edwards was like, man, it was 11 on 11, full speed, all out. And he said you could tell people knew that they were competing for their jobs, 4- and 5-star players everywhere. And Pete has been able to put this extreme emphasis on practice. And people roll their eyes like, yeah, I know you practice hard. No. I mean, are you intentional? Are you really getting everything you need out of practice? And are you competing? And basically, Pete sets up everything. Even if they're not going 11 on 11, everything is competition.
All the time.
All the time. And, of course, he's smacking his gum 90 miles per hour, and he's out there coaching his tail off. 73 years old, looks like he's 53.
I don't even know how he has the energy to talk like that.
I mean, you can't even grab one of these boxes outside the studio.
I'm still not sure when they got there.
I know.
I would have never seen those. Last thing on my mind.
What'd you think about the Pete Carroll audio? You like it?
Pete's, he's moving, man. He's energetic. He's lively still, and he's like 90.
And he can connect. You make a good point. Somehow Pete Carroll has found a way to connect to 24-year-olds.
Like, easily.
Because now the way the NFL is structured, the majority of the rosters, I think, 27 and under. I mean, they all want fresh legs and so on. But Pete can capture a room at 73 years old full of 20-year-olds. Because of his presence, enthusiasm, and his ability. He's a great communicator. Golly, I mean, he's Ronald Reagan of football. If Ronald Reagan was the great communicator of politics, and we've had some good people. I mean, Obama was unbelievable in front of the camera. Reagan, Clinton, right? And Trump. And then those that weren't any good, Biden, Bush 2, Bush 1. I mean, these guys are a disaster. But what?
I mean,
but I'm talking about being
there
is something to being a special communicator.
Yes.
Are you able to communicate with the people that work for you?
Sure.
Or work with you? I think Pete would probably say, yeah, they work for me, but they work with me. As far as his Las Vegas Raiders, OC, DC, special teams coach, OC guy, all that. GM, AGM, director of player personnel, all the important things that are going on within that organization to get a blade of grass better than the other team. But Pete has the ability to communicate. He elevates all the quarterbacks to go through. He hasn't really ever had he's had Russell. And
he made Russell great.
I think there's no question that there is absolutely no question that Pete's culture, Pete's ability to communicate, Pete's ability to understand what Russ could and couldn't do elevated Russell Wilson's game.
Russell's good. I mean, he had tools. He was fine, but I mean, he wasn't.
But Pete Carroll, the system, and there's nothing wrong with this. Russ took advantage of it, and that's wonderful. The system, the running game, and a defense that finished 1 or 2 for like 4 straight years.
Yeah.
Boom.
Legion of Boom.
KJ Wright.
Yep.
So,
Oh, Richard Sherman. They were mean. If they were doing that in practice, I wouldn't want any part of that.
but no, there are NFL teams that don't do some of that. He's a believer of competing all the time. Competition. I mean, that's all you hear on Pete Carroll. It's any drill that he can think of that drives the competitive spirit and competition. That's what he's going to do, whether he's with the Seahawks or now with the Raiders.
Yeah, right. I think it's
Raiders.
I think it's one of those deals where I know that he truly believes that if you slow down, you're done.
I do think he's one of those
you
guys.
know, it's foot on the gas, foot on the gas, foot on the gas, or I'm not going to live.
Yeah.
Foot on the gas. So
Yeah.
that makes sense. I mean,
And Lane Kiffin coaching under Pete Carroll and Nick Saban.
hey,
What a gift.
Yeah,
And having Monty Kiffin
as a pops.
as his dad, who passed away in the last year plus, who was, longtime NFL assistant coach.
Right.
But think about that. Lane Kiffin is one of the most successful coaches in the Pete Carroll tree.
That's incredible.
And Sark is successful. 2 college football. I mean, don't really love who you're losing to postseason, but
Sure.
still winning a ton of games.
I mean, they're there.
And back-to-back college football playoff berths.
He is there. So
We'll see. Is Sark going to go in and beat Ohio State week 1? Or is Ohio State with a new OC, a new DC, and a new quarterback going to beat Sark and Kite and Arch in week 1? Which way is it? Ryan Day with new coordinators and a new QB? Or is it a staff with a lot of continuity for college football in the Texas Longhorns in Steve Sarkisian, head coach and OC, Pete Kotkowski, unbelievable defensive coordinator, top 5 in the game, top 10 special teams coordinator, and Arch Manning, who's played a little bit, but he's still considered a new starter because Quinn Ewers was the guy.
right.
Sark's another success story out of the Pete Carroll tree. We'll just see how successful he's going to be over the next X amount of years.
I did not know his tree was that deep.
And there's a bunch of others that have worked for him that have gone on to have amazing. Of course, Eddie O.
Yeah,
I mean, Eddie O won the national. All right, so
Give it to
Eddie O worked under Pete Carroll, recruiting coordinator, defensive line coach, takes the Ole Miss job, just wasn't ready. Had no idea what he was doing other than recruiting. But as far as game day practices, X's and O's, ever figuring out what they wanted to do on offense, disaster. Goes back as an assistant and then wins a national championship as a head coach at LSU.
He did do that. That did happen.
That's part of the Pete Carroll tree.
Yeah.
Eddie O, Lane Kiffin, Sark, Dan Quinn. And then there's many more.
Wow.
There's a bunch of other dudes that have been
I
with
mean, he is 90. He's been coaching a while. I forget about that. I just feel like he's so young.
Yeah, Pete's been at it for
Ever.
a long time in the NFL and college football. The college football thing kind of, if he's not fired by the Patriots and Belichick takes over. So if he's not, it got real close there. He was close to getting it done with Bledsoe. If he doesn't get fired there, who knows? But he gets fired and all of a sudden Southern Cal cannot get it together. And he is like 8th on their list.
That's
and they
crazy.
get down to him and they hire him. And Southern Cal, this goes to show you what we know or don't know as fan bases. He's hired and he revolutionized the game in a different way, but just like Saban was doing down in Baton. They were doing it a little bit different way, but a lot of the same.
Yeah, at the same time almost.
Yeah, it was.
It
I mean,
was.
Saban's first year was 2000
Right.
at LSU, and I want to say Pete's first year was 01, but he may have started the year before. And they got it up and running quick. That's where I really am impressed with what Saban was able to do at LSU and Pete was able to do at Southern Cal. And like Dan Mullen in year 2 won 9 games at Mississippi State. Kiffin got it going at Ole Miss fast, Tuberville fast, that kind of stuff. You're like, wow, that's a guy. Because usually it's either year one or year two, it's not happening. And Pete was able to get Southern Cal rolling. And it was great timing. The Pac-10 at that time, I don't think they were the Pac-8. I think they had become the Pac-10 even in 01, was not good in football. And give Pete and Eddie O and Kiffin and Sark credit. They took advantage of UCLA throwing up all over themselves. Arizona and Arizona State weren't serious. Oregon had not, they were trending, but not where they were a few years later. Washington had gone in the gutter. Actually, Washington had been the best program the 20 years prior under Don James, who coached Nick Saban's mentor was Don James in the Midwest at Kent State. And Don James would go on to go out to Washington and very quietly win for years.
Was that Pac-8?
It was Pac-8, then the Pac-10, then the Pac-12. And Don James, Nick Saban has talked about him a million times. One of the best, most underrated coaches in football, but he coached out in Seattle at Washington Huskies, and nobody cares. Anyway, I thought that was fun to do some. I mean, Pete Carroll philosophically, he doesn't believe in the Belichick. Bob, you can go whatever way you want if it works, but his way was not the Belichick Bobby Knight way. He was more Pete Carroll and Phil Jackson.
Pete was kind of your homie. But he could get on you, obviously.
Yeah.
But he looks homie-ish.
I mean, the standards are high.
Right.
The competition in practice is like no other.
Ooh.
That's what I'd have done as a football coach a long time ago. I'd have gone out and watched Pete Carroll practice. And I don't care what level, high school, college, whatever. All right, Roll Tide, Ryan Fowler will join us at 9:30. God, Alabama's going to bounce back this year and hurt people's feelings. It's going to be on. Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb, DeBoer the head coach, Ryan Grubb the OC, they're going to get after some people. We're live in the Bank Plus studio.
WRKS Pickens Jackson.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Al Warner.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Bo Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Oh, man. Good morning. Welcome into the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Brought to you by Cover Source Solutions. If you need air conditioning repair, HVAC, or plumbing, Cover Source Solutions. Oh, man. Locally owned, Mississippi grown, offices in Brandon and Ridgeland. If you need AC help, which we need our air conditioning, or plumbing, Cover Source Solutions. Call them today. CoverSourceSolutions.com. CoverSourceSolutions.com. Do great work. Awesome partner on the show. Call the guys at Cover Source Solutions for AC, HVAC, and plumbing. Cover Source Solutions. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. We're streaming live on thezone1059.com. Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. We'll be there next week now that the fairs are done. Back on our football schedule. And we'll be live from either the Sportsbook or award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club next week. Bo Bounds, Jackson Meadows with us. Jay Meadows, did you miss me? Or did you even know I was gone?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of both.
Okay. Did you know I was gone?
Yeah, I wasn't real sure where you were.
Okay.
But I knew you were getting things done.
All right.
As long as business was being handled, I feel like we were doing right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was doing business. I was with
It's part of the job.
Elijah Craig, eating great food, drinking Elijah Craig bourbon, and picking out a barrel pick, which I had not done at Elijah Craig. Because of these relationships, we've been able to do them around the bourbon distilleries in Kentucky. But Elijah Craig blew me away.
I know you mean you were there doing R&D and this, that.
That's true. That was work.
I don't see any way around it.
And then once the barrel pick comes into Briarwood Wine and Spirits and Kessler Prime, and I get some, which means people get awesome Christmas gifts. It'll be here, the barrel pick, Elijah Craig barrel pick will be here in November that we picked out yesterday. I will say this, having been able to, I don't know how many barrel picks we've done now, 15 or so. And private barrel picks are fun and they're special and it's just a finite amount of juice. And that's why people get into it and they want to get that barrel pick so that they can have it. And a friend comes over and they're sharing the experience and then they're watching football and whatever. And again, throwing steaks or lamb on the grill and having, a fun time and sharing life experiences. And that's what makes it so fun. I will tell you this, the Elijah Craig Distillery campus and so on, or Heaven Hill, is awesome. I mean, they're all fun, but they have a bar and restaurant there. And I didn't know that. And it is beautiful. It's on the second floor of their welcome center. All windows. Absolute. And it's a beautiful bar. And we set up there. And the food was fabulous. They do it right. Heaven Hill, Elijah Craig does it right. And and then we got to go to their new $200 million facility that they just built around the corner. I think 65 acres.
Dang.
And it's beautiful, state of the art. We got a private tour. It's not open to the public till September. And it's amazing. I mean, they gave us the tour, and I mean, it's very engineering driven. You know, I couldn't help but think about Mississippi State because the tour guide, he's the VP of tours or whatever. And he was just telling us about all the things that they have taken from making bourbon the last 150 years. And they took what works, but also how can we be more efficient and so on. It takes 5 people to run that distillery.
Wow.
$200 million. I want y'all to think about that for a second. That's what he told us.
Huh.
Now, there are safety people in and out of there all the time because there's a lot going on, okay, when you're making that much bourbon. But as far as that's where they are today. And he was telling us, he said, look, man, you know, when the boom happened 20 years ago, it took in 30 and 40 and 50 years, you know, I don't know how many people. But this place is huge and beautiful and amazing right there in Bardstown, which is the bourbon town in Kentucky. And well done, well thought out, well laid out. And you know what? It's still family owned. Heaven Hill, as big as they are, one out of every four bottles of bourbon in the world are connected to Heaven Hill.
Dang.
As big as they are, they're family owned. And you get that feel. It's cool. Sylvia was the University of Louisville Cardinal fan that led the barrel pick for us. And we got a good one. Nate did a good job. And there'll be some amazing Elijah Craig juice at Briarwood Wine and Spirits. Somebody did text us earlier in the show and talking about the barrel picks in Hattiesburg with Jamie Ferris and Lincoln Road. Jamie does have Elijah Craig barrel picks right now, among other. By the way, the 2025 PGA, Elijah Craig PGA Championship juice, they had it up there in the gift center or merch shop. It should be hitting stores here soon.
Nice.
Last time I was in Hattiesburg at Lincoln Road Wine and Spirit store, Jamie had the 2024 Elijah Craig bourbon, which was cool too, along with barrel picks. So that's good to know. All right. So let's see. Jake says, me and my 12 best buds are going to Louisville next weekend for our fantasy draft and some golf.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Where all should we go? Dude, that's an epic guys trip.
Yeah. For a draft.
You and 12 guys are going to Louisville for golf and your fantasy football draft. You're going to have a great time. Go to Proof on Main. Go to Repeal Oak Fired Steakhouse. Oh, I've totally forgot. This will be in Jackson's Wheelhouse.
Hit me.
Oh my God. I cannot believe I didn't talk about this. Shame on me. We went to Bob Dylan's bar there, and it's the Last Refuge. They went in and took a church and renovated it, and it's unbelievable. 2 bars, beautiful. They kept all the stained glass and so on. And, you know, Bob Dylan has Heaven's Door Spirits. And the Last Refuge in Louisville, Kentucky, I'll text that to you, Jake. It may be the coolest bourbon bar I've ever been in. We had a great time after we ate dinner at Repeal in Louisville and went to the Last Refuge. And evidently they spent millions renovating. It is so cool vibe. Now, I've never seen that much bourbon in my life. It's from floor to ceiling, and you know how high-pitched those old cathedrals are? And so they've got bourbon, they've got shelves for days. Ryan Fowler, Roll Tide Ryan Fowler at 9:30. Oh, man. All right, our guys' trip discussions are brought to you by the beautiful Mississippi Gulf Coast and amazing places to stay and play golf and hit the casinos and sports books. Places popping. Guys' trips, fantasy football drafts, 24, 48 hours of fun, even bachelor parties all on the Mississippi Gulf Coast with the casinos, resorts, golf courses, and great food. Absolutely a destination now, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, whether it's Bay St. Louis or all the way down to Ocean Springs, Biloxi and Gulfport, among others in between. Guys' trips, bachelor parties brought to you by the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Love what Jake's doing here. Jake P. says, me and my 12 best buds are going to Louisville next weekend for our fantasy football draft and some golf. Where all should we go? So I told him Proof on Main for a drink and or lunch. Repeal Oak Steakhouse for dinner. It was exceptional. It really was. It was, and it's got a cool vibe. There's a lot of good-looking people in there. It's fun. It's happening. Y'all know the drill. When you walk into a place that's got the vibe and the energy and the feel. Repeal Oak Steakhouse has that. You get it right when you walk in. Plus, it's in a super cool boutique Marriott where there's a bunch of good-looking people hanging out in the lobby. So it all works. Y'all know the bourbon selection at all these bars in Louisville and Lexington. It's insanity. And they've got wonderful bartenders up there. The bartender at Proof on Main, one of the best bartenders that I've ever been around. I mean, this guy is an absolute pro's pro. All those places are on Main Street in Louisville, same place where U of L plays basketball at the KFC Yum Center, which is cool, and it's right downtown. It's right by the Cincinnati Reds, whatever that is, AA or AAA affiliate stadium, which is downtown too. So all of it was amazing. The Last Refuge is the bar, one of the bars that we went to. I didn't know anything about it. I knew about Heaven's Door Spirits, the whiskey brand co-founded by Bob Dylan, and their distillery's right beside it. This group, and Bob Dylan just lends his name. Evidently, they've got an awesome CEO and group of investors. They bought the church by Heaven's Door Spirits Distillery, and they renovated it into the Last Refuge bar. And it's insane.
Sweet.
I mean, it was just the right people, great feel, really, really nice. It exceeded my, when the Elijah Craig guys were like, hey, we're going to go to this bar, I thought, really? And then you walk in, it's gorgeous. Maybe the prettiest bourbon bar I've been in. They spent a fortune. Somebody told us $8 million, not counting the inventory of bourbon. I just sent Jackson some pictures, and I was trying to get the Elijah Craig guys to kind of, I don't know how you could quantify how many millions of dollars of bourbon was in there. And they were like, I can't. I don't know. It's just, they were just like several million. Okay. So that's where I'd go. You're going to have a great time. Fantasy football draft, golf trip, guys trip to Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, not bad.
Unbelievable. All right, let's switch gears. Out of Bounds 105.9, The Zone, ESPN. For those of you who may not know, Cam Ward was the number one pick out of the NFL draft out of Miami, and he went to the Tennessee Titans. I don't know how good he's going to be. I think he'll at least be pretty good. Will be the floor eventually. But, I'm sorry, the ceiling. And he may be dynamite. But they asked him a question about practice and his approach. And to be a young man, I thought this was unbelievable.
I said yesterday, I've grown up, watched my dad wake up at 4:30 doing a job he didn't like. So, if I can't wake up early and do what I need to do for a job I do like, I shouldn't be playing football. And that goes for everybody in the locker room. If you can't have the expectation for yourself that you want to be whether a good or a great player and want to put the work in, I just think that's how it should go. I just think good things only come to those who work.
This is the first time we talked to you since the Nissan Stadium.
I thought that was awesome, Jackson.
Nailed it.
My dad's gotten up at 4:30 a.m. his whole life for a job that he doesn't like. I think I can get up at that time for a job I do like to maybe find a way to get one more point on Sunday in the NFL, which is excruciating and extremely difficult. But that kid's got he was raised right. Awesome. We had heard that. Awesome head on his shoulders. Played at Washington State before transferring down to Miami and Cristobal. Boom.
That is a
number 1 pick in the NFL draft to the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans are liking what they're hearing.
Yeah. I thought that was good.
Big time.
Love that. To be maybe 21,
Right.
22, 23. He did play for a while, I think. So let's just say he's 23. Good head on his shoulders. That's somebody you want. Evidently, there may have been a couple players who weren't into practice, and I think he set the tone.
Yeah.
As the number 1 pick NFL draft dude.
And now
QB1.
and leader of the Titans.
Leader of the Titans. That's right. That's right. All right, we've got some more audio today. Our audio is brought to you by Stella Artois, and also Taste Italian Restaurant is open in the Renaissance. They have Elijah Craig Burke. Actually, they have 4 different SKUs, at least. And I don't know how many they have in Starkville because we got into that toasted barrel a couple of months ago. But Taste Italian Restaurant in Ridgeland is open for lunch and dinner. And chicken piccata, the bolognese, which I was telling Jackson about, tiramisu, fried ravioli, just wonderful food, pastas, pizzas, sandwiches. Taste Italian Restaurant is open in the Renaissance. You're going to need to get a reservation. That's just where they are right now. I mean, you can slip in. Maybe. I definitely wouldn't promise anything, but you need to go online and make a reservation. It's live. They're rolling. It's good. All right. One more time. We got Kenny Dillingham. I think we got time. Head football coach for Arizona State. They'll play week 2 in Starkville, Mississippi. This is Kenny Dillingham, not happy with the way his guys are practicing.
Yeah, we got to be better. I mean, like I said, our offense in general, too many drops on offense as a group. It was a bad day. I mean, it was a really, really bad day on offense. And it all stems from passion we play with. Is it okay to not make a play? And if you accept it, then you accept it. And that's who you're going to be. Don't be mad going 5-7. It's okay. Don't be mad going 6-6. Don't be mad going 3-9 because somebody has to go those records. There's going to be tons of teams who do it. Why not us? We didn't practice bad. What I mean by that is, like, we didn't bust. We didn't MA. We threw 1 pick. Like, we didn't practice bad. We didn't practice with passion. We didn't care if we scored a touchdown. We didn't care if there was an interception, right? We didn't care if somebody made a great play for most of practice. We were just out here practicing. And to me, the best teams, it matters all the time. You want to win everything. And today we didn't have that mindset. We didn't want to win. We wanted to practice. And those are 2 different mindsets to me.
You know
good
what that
practice of complacency. It was a good practice for a bad team.
Ooh, that's Kenny Dillingham, head coach at Arizona State. Week 2, he'll be in Starkville. What did Pete Carroll just talk about? That's what Kenny Dillingham just hit on. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. To make a reservation, go to tasteitaliankitchen.com. Now open in the Renaissance. tasteitaliankitchen.com to make a reservation. Roll Tide, Ron Fowler. Coming up next, talk about Auburn and Bama. All right, big giveaway today. 2 leather-wrapped Elijah Craig bourbon glasses. We just got back from Louisville, Kentucky, and spent almost 3 days with the Heaven Hill Elijah Craig group. Wonderful, wonderful trip. Love going to Louisville and Lexington and doing the whole bourbon thing. Picked out a barrel pick that will be at Briarwood Wine and Spirits in November. And it was awesome. So we're giving away 2 leather-wrapped custom Elijah Craig bourbon glasses. And how do you enter to possibly win? On the Golden Moon Casino text line, 601-885-3776. We would like to know, are you listening on 105.9 The Zone ESPN, or are you streaming the show? Where are you listening from? And what will your team's record be for 2025? I need all that. Some of you just give me like one of the 3. That's not entering to potentially win. I wish I had, but we do have several more sets of these, so we can give them away throughout football. But I wish I had 100 of them, because we've received a boatload of texts this morning. But that's how you enter. You could win. Again, are you listening on 105.9 The Zone ESPN or streaming? Where are you listening from? Give me the record of your favorite team, college, NFL, or even high school. All right. Our guests join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. We welcome in Roll Tide Ron Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa, afternoon drive. This man does 12 hours of sports talk radio a day, because that's what you have to do to feed the Crimson Tide Nation. Good morning. How's Orange Beach this morning, Pumpkin?
Oh, yeah. Look at you. Telling them off early, ain't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's good. It's not as hot. We didn't have any. So they front loaded us. I don't know if they did that for you guys, but they did it for us. They put us in all of our content. When we rolled out, we had our first meeting on Tuesday, practice on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I mean, it went. So they gave us all this media viewing, which is kind of something we're not accustomed to with Nick Saban, because Nick Saban gave us nothing as far as, practice observation.
Yeah, but
so
he won.
They gave us all of. Come on. I mean, here we go, Bo. All right, so just bear with me. I'm just saying we were not in shape. We're not judging DeBoer based on Saban. I think when you look at it, media friendly is one of the characteristics of Kalen DeBoer. I mean, we get a lot of access. We did a media day on Monday where you could interview anybody on the coaching staff. So transparency is one of the strengths of this task. You can walk up and ask whomever, whatever. I mean, literally. Strength conditioning coaches, defensive back coaches, all of them were made available. And then they walked a ton of players. I'm not saying every player, but almost every player. So it was media day. It was kind of an all-you-can-eat buffet content. I've got content for 3 weeks.
Did you talk? All right, your new offensive coordinator is Ron Grubb. And
impressive. I'm going to make a prediction, too.
Oh, hold on. All right, for our listeners, Ron Grubb was with Kalen DeBoer at Washington when they were winning with Michael Penix, and went to the college football playoff and beat Texas and played the national championship game against Michigan. He's known as one of the better offensive coordinators in the country. He took the job as OC at Bama for like 5 minutes, and then the Seattle Seahawks offered him the OC job, so he did that last year. He didn't stay in Tuscaloosa. Now he is back in Tuscaloosa, and people believe that things will get right on offense. While Kalen DeBoer is a hell of a head coach and offensive mind, I think it works a little bit better, and everybody's looking for a little bit of an edge with Ron Grubb calling the plays and dealing with quarterbacks. So we'll see what he can do with Ty Simpson. All right, what is your prediction, Roll Tide, Ron Fowler?
I think when you look at Ron Grubb, he will be a Power 5 head coach, if not this season, next season. I think he's that impressive. We've never been given the opportunity to talk with offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator every week, under Coach Saban. I mean, he would walk Lane Kiffin out, and we always thought there was a shock collar underneath, his shirt or something, because, he couldn't say anything that was out of the Nick Saban speech, right? He was back there shocking him. Well, if you look at Ryan Grubb, sit down and listen to the press conference. Like if you compare him to most of the head coaches in this league, he's already better explaining the offense. You can just see this guy walks with a different confidence level. And, I was watching Seattle last night. And I was trying to think, okay, I wanted to see Jalen Milroe, and I wanted to see this offense and see what they're able to do with him. I think a lot of it was on Jalen Milroe. I think the guy really struggled short, intermediate throws. And if you connect that, then I think this team can go out and win a championship. So by saying that Ryan Grubb's going to be a Power 5 head coach soon, is telling you that this season is going to be a successful season. I think Alabama will be hoisting up some type of championship trophy, whether it be an SEC title or possibly even more. This team is a deep playoff team. What we've seen so far of camp, you go out at practice and you're going, this is the 8th, 9th best team in college football? Are you kidding? I mean, they've got defensive backs that are much better than Coach Saban's defensive back groups as a whole, probably the last 10 years. You could go back to some of those Minka days like 2016.
The Kool-Aid is thick right now. This is Ryan Fowler talking Roll Tide football. I hate to agree with you, but you're right. Bama's going to bounce back this year and be really good. It was just a massive transition year following the GOAT and Ryan Grubb leaving after being there for like 10 minutes and not being the OC. And you're right, Jalen Milroe, good player, talented dude.
Oh.
But, it didn't line up quite like they wanted to. I think you start off the season.
He couldn't throw the football consistently. He could throw it some, but it consistently. And defenses in this league will figure you out.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like baseball. They know your pitches, and they knew what he was good at, and they knew what he was bad at. And what they did is they attacked his strength and said, all right, beat us with your weaknesses. And he couldn't do it.
I mean, Vandy beat you. I mean, Diego Pavia owns the state of Alabama.
Do we have to bring it back up?
I don't even know what. I was watching it the other day, and I thought about you. And Diego Pavia may be my favorite player in college football, other than DJ Lagway or Diego Pavia. But anyway,
listen, I can't listen to the other show because I'm on the air. I go straight up against him. Did he say that he was going to win a national title on Paul's show?
I think he did. So I've been traveling the last 3 days and haven't been as locked in, and definitely haven't been on Twitter as much.
I thought I saw that.
But I think he did.
Jackson, call your producer up to the front of the. I mean, is he paying attention? Because if he's like my Jackson, he's staring at his phone. Yes. See, my Jacksons. I got a Jackson producer too.
Okay.
And all Jacksons, they stare at their phone nonstop.
I know. Hey, all right. So tell me about your Jackson. Does he go to Alabama?
Oh, yeah. He's a converted Georgia fan. You remember when Tua ripped that heart out? Oh, yeah. His dad went to Georgia. So when we took him over as an undergrad, I don't know if you realize this, what happened. But, like, if you come in as an opposing fan, like, say you're a Mississippi State lifer, okay, and you get to 18 and you say, I don't want to be a loser the rest of my life, and you go to Alabama, you got to go to Coach Bryant's statue and you got to repent. There's a walk.
I got you.
So, yeah, I mean, so as long as you that's how you got to get accepted in, and then you become an Alabama fan. He tells me stories of Tua Tagovailoa beating Georgia with that second 26 play. He said he cried all night. And I'm sitting there going, are you kidding? Now this guy is a converted Alabama fan. He's an Alabama fan. He went to Alabama. Now he's getting got his undergrad and he's getting his grad degree. But I'm telling you, he stares at his phone like nonstop. All three of my interns. He's a producer, but I've got 3 interns too. I'll stare at 4 people staring at their phone. It's the neatest thing.
I've lived this too the last 20 years, or especially the last 15. Yeah.
If you got to communicate with them, Don't even wave at them or type it in the chat box. Just text them.
Ron Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa Sports Talk Radio.
You don't even want to talk about Jackson. You must be trying to be kind. Okay.
No.
So your Jackson must be.
No, he checks out. Look, I could go on and on. But so I can't believe that your producer is Jackson and my producer is Jackson. It's crazy.
Is your Jackson an Alabama fan?
No, he's Mississippi State. Well, he's Saints.
I can be.
Okay.
Yeah, he's whoever he's betting on.
Easily converted.
Oh, okay.
Whoever,
he's one of those.
Wherever his money is on that Saturday, that's who.
Hey, speaking of gamblers,
Cover,
we
baby.
had a handicapper. We had a handicapper the other day came out. This is what he said on the air, and I had no clue. Brought him on. We started talking, previewing. He said, I made my national championship prediction. He goes, I think you would want to know. And I said, sure, tell me. He goes, I laid it all on Alabama. He bet on Alabama. Now, this guy put a cold, hard money. Brad Powers, which you may or may not recognize,
I know Brad.
Big handicapper out in Las Vegas. He predicted Alabama to win the national title. He thinks Alabama's that good. I'm not there yet.
Oh, I think you could win it.
Cold.
You're one of the teams that can win it. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I said this yesterday on the show. I said I think there's probably 6 or 7 teams that could win a national title. I think Alabama's one of those teams. That's the way I answer that question.
All right, I've got
but
a listener.
They're going to be really, really good.
And I agree with you. I agree. And what happened last year was last year. I mean, again, you've got a new offensive coordinator. Jalen Milroe's gone. You've been able to get through the transition, add a lot of talent, so on. Roll Tide, Ron Fowler, 109 The Game, Tuscaloosa on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. So we have a listener on the text line, Bo, and he says he sure is confident for a team that lost to Vanderbilt and to an Oklahoma team that had no receivers. What's your reaction to that, Roll Tide, Ron Fowler?
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. You look at the offense. I thought the defense played really, really good last year. The offense is, in the games that he's here talking about, go back and look at Milroe. The pick sixes in Oklahoma, one of those, you remember he could have got the guy out of bounds, and he just kind of just didn't even put any effort into tackling the guy that was running the pick six. Hey, you're right. You're absolutely correct. And I think the one area, they had a big meeting back in January where the strength conditioning coach and the head coach and all these coaches got together and said, all right, guys, we tried it one way. We're going to try it this way, and this is the way it's going to be. And they laid out all these laws, rules, whatever. And they said, if you don't like it, you can get the blank out.
Okay.
Literally, this was the coming to Jesus meeting that my parents used to have with me on the couch. Yeah, you've had those. And not one player walked out. Not one player entered the NFL draft, the early departures, and 0 players entered. They went into the strength conditioning program, and they have literally destroyed all kind of Alabama records, like personal, gym records. We had a guy that lifted 950 pounds on the squat.
I saw that
over here.
That.
Craziness. Bruce Feldman lists one of those guys as like the freakiest college football player. I think he was 3rd on that one-on-one list. It's so all they did was work out and try to get better. They couldn't go back and replay Vanderbilt and Oklahoma. They spent time in the gym. This is a physically looking football team, and you could tell that they had to control something. They could control the only thing they could control is get in the weight room and get bigger, faster, stronger. But don't sleep on Alabama. Whoever your listener is, I'm sure he's probably probably an Ole Miss guy. Could be a Mississippi State guy.
I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
I've got a War Eagle Rich here on the text line that says, that's not Kool-Aid. That guy's drinking the whoop juice this morning.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about these Auburn guys. They've had 4 losing seasons in a row.
Good
Hugh
Lord.
Hefner Freeze has lost
That's
to
more
Alabama.
than Mississippi State.
And
their coach died while he was the coach.
And Hugh Hefner's on that last leg. And I said 7-5, but a loss to Alabama, they'll fire him.
Oh, I think they're going 8-4 minimum.
Who Auburn?
Yeah, but I think they've got a path because of their schedule. But
it all starts at Baylor. They got to beat Baylor on the road.
Oh yeah, the Friday night game, week 1, which I'm excited about, August 29th. You're exactly right. Auburn at Baylor. Dave Aranda, former defensive coordinator at LSU, is the head coach at Baylor. He saved his job last year. And Sawyer Robertson is their quarterback, and he signed with Mike Leach in Mississippi State and then transferred out through all the stuff. But yeah, no, I agree. They got to beat Baylor, and then they'll win a couple more non-conference games, and then they go at Oklahoma, at A&M. But then it really lines up for them as far as the schedule after that. Golly.
Okay.
So look, Freeze is going to have he's going to have an opportunity to beat y'all the last game of the year in Auburn. He almost beat you year 1, as you know. You walked him off.
If he starts out 0-3 against Alabama, he may have to win 8. I think 7-5 with a loss to Alabama and Georgia, and that would be year number 6 that they've lost to Alabama in a row. 3 of those with him, they pull the plug at 7-5. He's got to get to 8. I think he's got to get to 8.
They haven't beat Bama since, Gus beat them, are you telling me 6 years ago?
That's right. Yep.
Damn. I knew Gus had
5 in a row. 5 in a row. This is going for 6.
Okay.
We fear the finger is what we're saying. Yeah, fear the finger. This would be 6.
Okay. All right. Hey, and so at quarterback for Alabama this year, it will be Ty Simpson.
Ty Heisman Simpson. Yep.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So what do you have? Go ahead.
Not too far away from Philadelphia, but will somebody go in and lay some money on that? See, I'm not allowed to bet as a Heisman voter. I can't go over there and vote but I need somebody to place a bet, and then we can give a percentage. I think I looked it up at Silver Star. Alabama's a plus 1,200.
Okay.
On winning the national title. I need somebody out there to go halves with me or go percentages.
Well, let's go win
out
totals.
there on the text line.
9.5.
Oh, over. Oh, yeah. Over.
9.5 wins.
Yeah, over.
All right, so you're going
10
10-2, and you'll make 10-2 gets you in the college football playoff. Okay.
Yeah, I think they're a deep playoff team is the way I'm describing it, with a chance to win an SEC title.
All right, at Georgia, at Missouri, at South Carolina, and at Auburn. Those are the landmine games. At Georgia, at Missouri, at South Carolina, at Auburn. 3-1?
I think they'll go 3-1. 3-1 of those games.
Okay. All right.
They were undefeated last year at home with that group of players.
Your toughest home game is LSU? Okay.
Yeah, we beat them 42-13 in Baton Rouge. They're not beating us in Tuscaloosa.
Oh man, Brian
that
Kelly.
Offensive line, that offensive line at LSU, they can't even block them in practice. You've been hearing the reports. I mean, Gary Nussmeier got popped yesterday. Why is your quarterback getting no contact jersey? Put him in a bubble, man. He's your season.
Wow. Okay. Roll Tide, Ron Fowler, 109 the game, Tuscaloosa. He has Bama going at least 10-2. College football play. I agree with him. They're going to the college football playoff.
A deep college football playoff. Deep college football playoff.
Deep run.
I think they're going deep.
Depending on who you draw, you know.
And I describe deep as the last 4 standing. That's where I'm at.
Okay. All right. So the final 4 of the college football playoff, we're still at 12 teams. All right. Well, Tyson, I mean, this is.
Hey, but do you know I've still got people over here in Tuscaloosa, fans, who still want Lane Kiffin as a head coach over here?
Well, why wouldn't they?
I try to say, listen, the guy had like 19 starters back last year. If you couldn't do it then, when's you going to do it?
They got their ass kicked last year. They're soft as cotton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, last year it lined up. The veteran team, the schedule, everything was, and the league wasn't good. I mean, the league didn't have a dominant team. I mean, the best team was Texas, even though Georgia beat them in the SEC championship game. The best team in the regular season was Texas, and they were not dominant at all. And LSU was down, Bama was down, Georgia was down, among others. Yeah. I don't know. You know, Lane's a phenomenal coach. I don't know. He's probably hit his ceiling in Oxford. And to win a national championship, he's going to have to get to LSU or I don't know what else could open up.
Does it come up often?
Southern Cal? But I don't know if they
that if like Lane Kiffin is the trade-off, but Arch Manning could have been the guy. Like Arch Manning could have been in Oxford if it hadn't been for Lane Kiffin, right?
Right.
Isn't that the kind of story? Yeah.
Right.
So is the trade? You ever do that?
Even though Ole Miss was rolling and winning, Arch never even looked at Ole Miss. The family, I don't think they ever entertained it. Is that where you're going?
That's where I was going, yeah, because, I mean, you're looking at all this Arch hype that could have been in Oxford, Mississippi with another Manning. I mean, it's kind of odd to see that Manning had a different place, like Texas. And that ego out there, I can't stand Texas. Like, I'm almost hating Texas more than I do Auburn.
Really? I love that.
It's just the ego. We had Texas morons calling in the show.
Really? All right, I got to go. I hope you have a fried shrimp po' boy and some gumbo and a good glass of lemonade today, and enjoy your OBA and Roll Tide, okay? We'll talk.
Roll Tide.
We'll talk about your Texas hate later. Thanks, bud. Okay. Lunch today brought to you by Martin's in Livingston. Blue Plates Burgers, wings, nachos, Martin's in Livingston. For Jackson Meadows, I'm your host, Bo Bounds. Hope you have a great weekend. And don't forget, the Briar Patch is also a great place for craft cocktails, charcuterie board, and flatbreads. See you Monday.